Hi everyone, this video is a follow-up or a response to Real Hi-Fi Help's video, and it is here. That's the channel, and that's the name of the post, Extreme Audio Streamer Tweak, and he talks about streaming and high quality streaming, and I emphasize the quality of the streaming because he talks about a phenomenon that he experienced, that you can make a streamer have a good sound even with low resolution material, and even with material such as YouTube. And you have to know that YouTube is 128K MP3 quality. So that's the sound, which is like probably one of the weakest MP3 ever. And if you listen to 128K MP3 10 years ago or 20 years ago, you wouldn't even consider it worthy of any kind of attention. It was just horrible, played from a computer 20 years ago. And today we have technology that can play 128K with such presentation that is just, it's musical bliss. So I'm asking here, this is the question for today: is low resolution Nirvana real? Does it really exist? Or that was just something one-off that Real Hi-Fi Help and his friend experienced? So let me share my experience too. I was thinking about just commenting on his channel, but the response is much longer than a comment for a few sentences. So that's why I made this video. And I'm doing this because I experienced the same phenomena. So what Real Hi-Fi Help says is that his friend was experimenting with the low power supply for the streamer and for the Wi-Fi router. And when he fixed those issues and upgraded the power cords of these devices, that's when they observed an unprecedented jump in the quality of the sound that they were getting from streaming, even from really low resolution material such as YouTube sound. And I can concur that I have experienced the same thing. Actually I have YouTube and my projector and the movie system hooked up to my 2-channel stereo. So I've been listening to that in my system, and it's been like so whatever, like borderline acceptable, but you know, like low resolution MP3 quality, it sounds like edgy and there's barely any detail level in it, and not lifelike at all, and it doesn't give you a realistic experience. But then I started changing things, and I tell you what were the changes that I made that transformed a zero quality sound to top-notch sound. And so one of the things was that I changed the power cord of the player, of the Blu-ray player. That's my streaming device, and for that it was just a zip cord, you know, the lamp cord type of black thingy, hardwired into the Sony Blu-ray player. So I gutted that thing out and I soldered directly onto the board Kimber PK10 power cord, which is gauge 10, very high quality copper cable, and I gave it a nice watt gate end, and I used that like as a direct line to the power. that in itself was a gigantic jump. It just totally transformed the sound of the player for everything, and not just the sound, but the picture quality as well. I also added ERS paper, that's shielding, that's a material that shields from high frequency EM, EMI and RFI noises. And that material was developed to, I think it was developed for military purposes originally, and for scientific equipment, to make sure that they are able to operate under conditions when there's just too much EMI and RFI in the air. And when you protect your equipment with this ERS paper, then you significantly cut down that radiation and that the EMI pickup. And that is something that is really crucial for all digital gear. And I tell you a little story about that. So when in Hawaii at first, Sony came out with their first generation CD players near Ala Moana shopping center, which is known for all the tourists who ever visited Hawaii, Honolulu. Then in that area, none of the CD players worked for Sony, and they had to recall it and figure out why they didn't work. And it turned out that it's because there was a radio station there that was broadcasting, and that EMI interference, it just made the DAC chip and the logic board of the CD player dysfunctional. So Sony recalled it, they redesigned it, they added EMI and RFI shield to the CD players, and then it worked. So that's how important EMI RFI shielding for digital is, that if there's like considerable amount of such pollution, then it will make your gear stop working. And just think about it. Usually, because there's some built-in protection, now it's much better shielded from that. But if you improve on that shielding, then the gains benefits are tremendous. So another thing that I did was I have the Blu-ray hooked up to a DAC, and I'm hooking up the DAC because the DAC is very far away from the projector. The DAC is with my stereo system, and the Blu-ray is mounted on the ceiling next to the projector. And I mounted it on the ceiling because then I can run a very short video cable to the projector. And when you use a projector or TV or whatever, the shorter the signal cable, the better the picture. So you don't want to have that situation that you have a Blu-ray player and you are running a 20 feet long HDMI cable to your projector. That will totally kill the picture quality. You want to have like a 0.5 meter long HDMI cable to your projector, but that's a different story. So anyway, so because of this situation, I needed to have a really long cable running to my DAC. And I already installed into the ceiling a pair of RCA cable. It's a coaxial cable that I used with my previous Blu-ray player that died because of a thunderstorm. So that's why I got the Sony as a replacement. But now the newer players, they do not have RCA out, so I was forced to use the coaxial digital out and run it to a DAC. And when I used one cable of the pair, the sound was terrible, like really, really bad in every aspect. And then I flipped over to the other cable of the pair, which is identical or supposedly identical. Then the sound transformed to extremely good. and the difference between those two cables are minute, because I made both of those cables, same material of the cable, same ending, same direction of the wires, but they have been drawn into the wall, so they might have suffered different stress during the drawing, and there might be like a millimeter or two difference in the length of the cables. And those minute, almost negligible differences do show up as a gigantic difference in sound quality. So if I use one, it sounds like a junk sound, like one of the worst you can imagine. I didn't even want to play around with the Blu-ray after that, but I just had this idea, let's try two other one, and that was like, what the bleep. So that's a critical lesson for everyone, for streamers, is that when you have your streamer hooked up to a DAC or a CD or any kind of source, then the quality and properties of your cable that connects those two devices is crucial to sound quality. And that was a big jump towards making YouTube sound and low res better. And the last bit that truly changed the sound was changing the power cord of the DAC. So and then the power cord that I changed it to was, I made a silver cable. So basically it's a gauge 10 silver cable. So both hot and neutral are gauge 10, and there's no ground connection to it. It's just a single pair. And when that was added as well, then the sound just exploded. And I have my router on a line isolation device, on a power line conditioner. That's probably adding to the sound as well, because initially I just run the router directly from the wall, but I had lots of problems with the power outages and thunderstorms damaging the router. So when I got a new router, I said no more of that, and I put it on a PLC. And since then I had zero issue with the router while there are power outages, zero issues during thunderstorms, and also I noticed that I have much better picture quality and sound quality as well. So that's my 2 cents about the story, is that yes, even low resolution streaming, when you watch YouTube or Netflix, and even Netflix, they do not provide you high quality sound. If the bandwidth is low, I think it drops even to below 128k, but at the best situation I'm really doubtful that it reaches 256k. Yet even with such low resolution, Netflix movies are just stunning. So the experience I get is way beyond what I experience in a full-blown true cinema. So when I go to a screening of, you name, Avatar or whatnot, the sound is not as fleshed out, and it doesn't immerse you into the reality of the movie as well as this streamer does. So real HIFI Help, yes, my answer is yes to your questions, that indeed this low resolution Nirvana is a real phenomenon, and it's really highly dependent on the quality of power we feed to our DAC and to our streamer and to our router. And just for last word, please be mindful, everyone in audio, that when we hear music, it is your electricity that comes from the wall. You are hearing the mixture of electricity and your room acoustics. So those are the two ingredients that the sound is produced from. And the music material is just the cookbook that your device uses of how to cook you a meal of sound from the ingredient that it gets from the wall and your room. So it just mixes these two up together. Or I would say that your DAC and streamer mixes up the electricity and your speaker mixes it up for the room. That's about it. So I hope it helped for everyone, and I encourage you to go and find out more what you can get from your streamers, and I encourage everyone to tweak and find new things. And I hope you liked it, and thank you. Please like, subscribe. It's good for you, it's good for the community. I don't need personally likes and subscribes. It doesn't make any difference to my life, but it makes a big difference to you and our audio community. Bye bye. Thank you.